I think like we're missing that and we are forgetting that at the end of the day, we're gonna get replaced by the next one.
Yeah.
And maybe we should change the word replace, but we're gonna give the baton to the next one.
Yes.
And I'm always thinking about that. It's like someone younger than me will then be in my position, and I would love them to do great. I don't want to perpetuate this idea of if I had to walk 1,000 steps and 1,000 miles, you should do that too. If I can make somehow that road shorter for the next one, I'll do it. That's something that goes with my values, and I wish that other people can see it that way.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to YASCP, your African Supply Chain Podcast. I'm your host, Stella Jaqueta. In this podcast, we discuss various topics that affect my beautiful, your beautiful, uncomplicated African supply chains. So, as I say, this is a new season, right? This is a new year, so new things are coming on. And one of the things that I really enjoyed in this new season is bringing a quote that you know it's going to open up or reflect on what we're going to talk about. So listen up to this quote. We cannot always build the future for our youth, but we can build our youth for the future. From Franklin D. Roosevelt. Such a true statement. We can build our youth for the future. And really goes well with the title of today's episode, which is Gen Z in Supply Chain. What to expect? And my guest today is really passionate, and I feel like she's an expert on this topic. And all the way from Mexico, I would like to introduce you to Sofia Rivas Herrera, who is a supply chain ambassador, speaker, podcast host, supply chain analytics, network design, retail e-commerce, industrial engineering, and so much more. So let's give a big, warm welcome to Sofia. How are you doing, Sofia?
Oh, I'm doing great. And thank you so much for this very cool intro. I love the quote. And I think, yes, it goes hand in hand with the topic that we're going to discuss. And yeah, thank you for having me. I hope that you realize that we have a lot of things in common, despite that we are worlds apart, literally. I think like Mexico and also other parts from Latin America as well as Africa have a lot of similarities. And yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm super excited. You know, when I contacted Sofia, she was so welcoming and so quick to respond. I was like, wow, amazing. And guys, if you go to her LinkedIn pages and you see the content that she posts, you guys will be amazed. That's the caliber we're bringing on in 2024. This is the caliber we are doing. So, Sofia, just to get started, can you please share a little bit about yourself and how you became involved in this big bang world of supply chain?
Yeah, I like to say that I intentionally got into supply chain, and it all started because I studied industrial engineering, which I really like. But in Mexico, it's very focused on manufacturing. And we can understand why, because our proximity to the US and other parts of North America, and why, yeah, it makes sense, economical sense as well as business sense. But I was not very sure if it made sense to me. One day I heard the word about supply chain and that it englobed not only manufacturing, but everything from the idea to the actual delivery and that part of customer satisfaction, right? So running away from manufacturing, that's how I ended up in supply chain, and I started pursuing it around the world, from Singapore to Germany and then to the US and then back to Mexico. And that's how I remain here, and that's, yeah, I'm very passionate about it, and I love to share on this topic every day.
Wow. It's like at such a young age, you have like that global exposure already. going from different continents, even. I'm not just talking about countries, but like continents, different culture experiences. And I think one of the things that you have experienced is like how supply chain can influence culture, or how culture can influence the supply chain in models of doing business. And that's the beauty of supply chain, I call it, to be able to connect with people from all over the place. Like us connecting here, we are far away from each other, but we are connected, by a single cause. And I have this funny question, Sophia. If you could have one superhero power to make your supply chain job or your position easier, what would it be and why?
I think like from the different roles I have had, the thing that I always have trouble with is getting data, like getting good, clean, and getting it fast. And I always stressed out because sometimes in some jobs, I even have to ask someone to run a report or something like that, which I feel it takes away some control of what I'm doing. So if I could have a superpower, it would be like, if I can think of what I need and how I need it, and then just get it.
Like instantly.
Instantly. And maybe one day AI can do that for me, but I know that we're not there yet, but it would be amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. Superpowers. You could just get things like snap it, done. Snap it, clean, data,
and
done.
Then I can just focus on analyzing and telling a story with it, or finding the root cause. But then I don't waste time on getting like bad data that I afterwards need to clean.
And we all know the consequences of bad data.
We know.
Yeah, we all know the consequences of bad data. I think for me, like if I had a superpower, I wish I could teleport myself, or like be in one place. Like different
that was
places.
good.
Like you just needed 1 minute. You're like, bam, I'm here. Bam, I'm there. Like I don't have to move across the time difference, the lead time. Teleporting.
No, now I want to change my answer. Because I completely forgot that part. But no. That's a good superpower as well.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. That's amazing. You guys, like, let us know on the comment section, if you had a superpower to make your job and your life easier, what would it be? And Sophia, we're here talking about Gen Z, right? So can you explain who is part of Gen Z, and why do you think it's becoming more and more popular, this topic, this generation? Can you explain it to us for someone who never was like, now it's the first time they're hearing about Gen Z?
Yeah. So, and this I research back again in different sources because I always get different answers. And well, Gen Z, you take it from 1995. That's the first year of Gen Z. Some sources will tell you that's still millennial. And I have heard that, for example, I was born in 1995. So they call me millennial, which is like a mix from millennials and Gen Z. So, but yeah, I think like despite from the exact year in which you were born, I think it is the next generation from millennials that are a bit more digital because they had no direct contact with this, I would say, hardware or other things. So they basically were born with a smartphone on their hand. And these are people that are still looking for purpose beyond just doing a job.
Yeah.
And that know how to set boundaries, I think. And that's key. Because they understand that one key part is their mental health, their physical health, and building communities that are stronger in that sense.
Yeah. And you know, what's a fun thing I heard about Gen Z? It's that like they did a study and 50% of Gen Z or Gen Zs were like, okay, we're going to interchange here. They're like
Yeah.
56%, they consider themselves more creative. You know, they're more, it's more of like embracing our passion, you know, embracing what we're not wasting time. I'm born in 1997. I'm a proud Gen Z. You know, before I thought I was part of the millennials, but then it's like, okay, I'm Gen Z. But I'm a proud member of the Gen Z community and an advocate. So I think it's this generation, as we're saying as well, it's very digitalized. Like we were born with cell phones, we were born with microwave popcorn, you know? Everything is fast and everything is quick. Everything is like, it has its perks and it has also its side effects, but it's the beauty of its generation, you know? And that's what we need to respect. And I don't like when people are only talking, excuse me, the word crap about this generation, you know? You know, yeah,
Yeah.
because you often, the more like the lessons that I hear more, it's more on the negative side, you know, but there's so much more that we are here to offer. And this is why we have this podcast to highlight what we are here to offer, right? So, Sophia, how do you see the role of Gen Z in shaping the future of supply chain? What do you think it's so unique that we can bring into this beautiful industry?
I think you just mentioned it, and it's that part of creativity and
Yeah.
passion that we have, that young generations have. Especially, I think in supply chain, it's very important to have this skill of looking for new ways to solve things. And I
Yeah.
think we really need more unbiased and fresh perspective,
Mm,
because I think like traditionally supply chain has been dominated by older generations. And still
yeah.
you can see it perhaps on your workforce or around you in the industry, that you can still see kind of the same people in the same places. So I think like we as a generation, we need to start taking place in those places,
Yeah.
taking space there and sharing what we know, what we see, and what could be changed.
Yeah. And what do you think about Sophia, the whole thing of raising or being that voice, you know? And it's something that we've been hearing about, like sharing your story, being an advocate. What do you think this generation can really bring in that, in the sense of supply chain? Because sometimes you can be like, no, you don't have the 10 years of experience to talk about that. Or no, you know, who are you to say so, you know, because you don't have the years on. How can we as Gen Z, or even people who are listening who are even older, but you know, are leading Gen Z, how can they help them to position themselves, you know, to still have a voice, you know, still learn, but to still positioning themselves and placing their ideas on the table.
I think as a young professional, the hardest thing or the biggest challenge is to build your credibility
Mm,
and your authority. I
mm,
think you can easily get like, oh no, you're too young. Oh no, you're
mm,
too naive.
mm.
And you'll get blocked from new opportunities of growth. And especially because of the characteristics of Gen Z, I think that those type of comments just deter us from trying and
Yeah.
from staying, which is key. We don't stay where we're not listened. We don't stay where we're not valued. And I love that about this generation, because we shouldn't keep up with the people that tell us these things, right?
Mm,
But if I should say, how can older generations help us? Well, how about looking at us from a different perspective and trying to identify our strengths and use them, and then help us like smooth our edges and smooth the way, perhaps the way in which we communicate. Teach us what you've known that has helped you as a professional, right? I think like we're missing that, and we are forgetting that at the end of the day, we're gonna get replaced by the next one.
Yeah.
And maybe we should change the word replace, but we're gonna give the baton to the next one.
Yes.
And I'm always thinking about that. It's like someone younger than me will then be in my position, and I would love them to do great. I don't want to perpetuate this idea of if I had to walk 1,000 steps and 1,000 miles, you should do that too. If I can make somehow that road shorter for the next one, I'll do it.
Yeah.
That's something that goes with my values, and I wish that other people can see it that way.
Yeah, that's beautiful, Sophia. And that's characteristics of great leaders. They're not raising followers, they're raising other leaders. It's about the next generation that is coming. What are we leaving for them? What legacy are we building for them? It's not only shutting down, but as you said, taking their strengths and use it, and improve it. Because at the end of the day, we want the business to grow. We want the supply chain to flow. We want to do better. But it's about leveraging each other's strength. And there's experience and there's a quickness as well from our generation. And it really goes into my next question, that part of sustainability, that part of living a better future tomorrow. And can you tell us, Sophia, how do you see Gen Z or Gen Z contributing to influencing the sustainable practices in supply chain? Because sometimes people, I don't want to say that, but we are labeled as a generation that is very aware. Let me just say that. We are very aware of our surroundings and living a better future, and environmental practices that has been perpetuated for so many years that has been damaging our world around us. For example, we are suffering for different climate changes, even just here in Mozambique. We suffer from floods when it comes rainy season, but that's a result of climate change. So in terms of that, how do you see us contributing or putting a positive impact when it comes to sustainable practices in supply chain?
I think the advantage here is exactly what you just mentioned, Stella, of we have been hearing about this problem since we were born.
Yeah.
And the problem of the world ending, of our resources being limited, of our actions having an impact. And we have also been very focused on hearing which solutions are out there, which are actually being implemented, which ones work, which ones have failed. And I'm going to share a quick story. When I was, just as an example of how present this issue has been in my life. I think like when I was 6 years old, my first ever project that I presented in English, because I was studying at a bilingual school, was, and my teacher was like, "Why do you want to do that?" Like, and I firmly said, "No, I want to research about this. I want to explain." So I did a project around a recycling factory. So I was a recycling factory. I disguised the factory.
Wow.
And I explained the process of recycling. And then everyone chose a different topic, right? Something that was a bit more fun.
Yeah.
But for me, that was something that kept me up at night. Like, how can we are not doing this already? Or why, if it exists, we don't use it? And I sometimes, some bad days, I still feel that way. Like, how come we walked all these years and sometimes we are still doing the same mistake, but sometimes I am hopeful, and I am hopeful precisely of these Gen Z professionals entering the workforce.
Yeah.
Because if we were born with this chip of sustainability and minimizing our impact, I think we have a way in which we can first not only demand it, but actually do it ourselves. So once we get into an organization, once we get into a big corporate company, then that's where we can actually make the difference. So that's why I'm like always inviting, come to this industry and then make it your purpose, right? Make all these values that you have since you were really young around sustainability, make them true. Make these dreams true.
Yes. And thank you, Sophia, for what you said, because I think the Gen Z generation is more, I feel like it's, nothing is impossible. Literally, like nothing is impossible. And if my dream is to go out and build a recycling factory, I'll do it, type of thing. And if my dream is to really help people in vulnerable communities who have been affected by, let's say, climate change, that I will do it. There's nothing stopping us from going and pursuing those goals and those dreams. And and it's also being encouraged everywhere, like from media, from even our parents, like, go pursue your dreams, go for it. And it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing to see. And it goes back to, what are we going to leave with the next generation? What is the next generation is going to receive our baton? So what are we leaving up for them? What sustainable practices? And what I love as well is that there's so many businesses that are environmentally focused, is socially responsible. It's not only about profit, but it's also about living and living a better world. And that's the beauty of it, of our generation. I think that we are coming up with these creative ideas of doing business and helping people along the way. And Sophia, we love to talk about opportunities. We love to talk about the beautiful things that Gen Z bring into the table. But can you sort of highlight some of the challenges that Gen Z professionals, because now more and more are entering into the workforce. I forgot the statistics a little bit in terms of the percentage of people that are getting Gen Z that are part of the workforce now. So they're mostly in their entry to mid-level now. So can you please talk a little bit about the challenges that these Gen Z are facing now?
Okay, so the challenges that they are facing.
We are facing. It's like I'm going to put myself in the place. I'm like interchanging.
I wanna be part of this generation as well. But I understand. I think like that growth from mid-level. So you're not early career, you're not entry level, but you're mid-level, maybe a senior analyst, something like that. I think that jump to manager right now, it's very hard. And
really,
I think it's hard. One, because because we hear, I don't know, like maybe my parents are very old school, but they always say like, you start from the bottom and then you keep growing.
You work your way up.
Yeah, and you work your way up and you'll get there. And I'm like, there's like this there doesn't exist anymore. And it doesn't exist because I think like, I think companies have figured out that this like hierarchical growth doesn't work neither for them, but for us. So now there's like no planned path of like, in 2 years, you'll be a senior manager. And then in the next 2 years, you'll be the CEO. I don't think it works that way anymore. So I think that in order to actually make those jumps in your career, you have to be really connected. And what do I mean by connected? It's not like having a leverage over others. I don't want to make it sound that way because I feel like we have been raised like that, and it isn't true. It is about who knows you, who do you know, and making sure that you are on the top of mind of people that will say your name in a room full of opportunities, right? So I think like working your way, not only internally in your company, but also externally, it's very important. And this is the beauty of networking. I also love talking about this subject, and I'm really passionate about it because I think like after I graduate, after I started my first job, that's when I realized what that actually meant. So yeah, those are like kind of the things that I wish someone had told me like before graduating.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think like it's very valuable, and that's something, food for thought. And if someone wants to talk more about it, we can.
Yes, that's true. And I'm gonna dwell a little bit on the networking side, but just before that, I love really what you said on terms of that jump. There's no clear path anymore. It's like, do your job. Just do your job and we'll see. Type of thing, we'll see on the performance evaluation. And it's a little bit sad, but I hope this kind of changes. But what you just said, it's about who you know and being seen. Because before it was like, you know what? If I just do my job, if I deliver on time, my work, it's fine. That's it. It will speak for itself. Not anymore. Now you have to brand yourself. Okay, you can be part of a company, but you have to have your self-image. How do you present yourself? You have to have your own brand awareness.
And share with others what you're doing, right? I think no one teaches us to share which projects we're on, what have we accomplished, what challenges we're facing, because that they taught us that was bragging. And it is.
Yeah.
Because then it's so funny that the people that brag, and I'm putting in the air if you cannot see it, but people that air quote brag are the ones that get the next opportunity. And it's actually just sharing what you're doing. And I think, there are ways in which you can do it better than others, right? So I think that if it comes from a place of growth, a place from learning and improving, then it's not bragging.
Yeah.
And then it adds value to others as well. So I encourage you to do it. I'm still working on it. Sometimes it's counterintuitive and you feel like it's not in your nature, but I have figured out that that's one way to overcome this challenge of the next level of getting to the a higher role, better working conditions, better pay, right?
Yeah.
And also getting into those positions of leadership where you can actually see your decisions have an impact. And I feel like we need to get there.
Yes. Because otherwise we'll forever be executing someone else's plan and vision, And I really I like what you said. It's about putting yourself out there, even if it's uncomfortable. I remember in the beginning, I was like, how am I going to do it? I'm that type of person who I don't like exposing myself. I don't like to putting myself out there in that sense. But when I started the podcast, I was like, I have to, I have to put myself out there. I have to be mindful about my image and how I present. And it has been a beautiful journey, learning about how I do it. There were mistakes. Of course, there's mistakes. You'll do it. In the beginning, you'll have to take away the trash out in order for the diamond to come in. But it's about that. It's also about growing in that sense. But relationships is something that will never go out of fashion. Comes AI, comes, different tools and technology available. But relationships will continue to be a deciding factor going forward. And that's what we really want at the end of the day. And Sophia, we also have one of the big topics in supply chain. It's diversity and inclusions, which is crucial in this industry, representation in this industry, especially for women. Here in Africa, we are having this uprise in terms of women taking leadership position in supply chain, women, taking those positions that were originally very man driven, but now women are also taking those positions. But we are still having a long way. We still have a long journey to go. So how do you think Gen Z can contribute in creating a more diverse and inclusive supply chain and workplace in general?
I think the first step is to get here. Come to the supply chain. We'll receive you with open arms. And if someone doesn't, we'll make sure to find a better place for you. But I feel like that's the first step. We want to see more Stellas, more Sofias, more people from different parts of the world, and especially more women. We need more women here. Because I bet Stella can say the same thing, but I get into meetings and I'm the only woman still. Yeah. And it's 2020, it's 2024. Yes. And we are still the only woman in the room. Yeah. And so I think, the first thing is get here. Once you're here, do the same thing as we are doing and extend your hand to the next one and bring them here. Yeah. And make sure that you serve as a step for the ones that come here to go higher.
Yeah. That's it.
I think that's really important because I feel like sometimes, even us as women, we are putting ourselves down and not helping the next one. Like sometimes we want to remain the only woman. And
I was the first one.
Yeah. So I think we need a mind shift there in terms of that. And it feels so great when you build your community, when you feel like part of a group. So make sure that you get here. Once you're here, find the people that will be your allies. I think that's very important. And I think right now, because of the beauty of globalization and this high connectivity everywhere, if you feel like physically you don't have your group, I can assure you that virtually you'll get your group.
You'll have a room.
Yeah. Because till right now we don't know each other physically. Yes.
Yeah.
But we will. And I think that's how you start relationships. And that's another way in which we can connect nowadays. Virtually first, and then one day we'll meet physically. But build your tribe and make sure that your tribe is big enough for everyone.
Yes. And always accommodate new people on your tribe. I was once speaking with, I think my mentor, she shared about it, about the Queen Bee effect. Not Queen Bee Beyonce, but like the Queen Bee in terms of the beehive, like where they want to be the only one, they want to be in their own cocoon. Okay, I was the first one to arrive. I was the first woman engineer in that leadership position. Or I was the only woman, the first 30-year-old to get to that position. So And we get proud of that. Like, oh, yes, 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 yes. We can even say like, yeah, we want to bring other women on. But then what actions are you really taking to build other women on? Because then if sometimes people think that if I bring them on, my light will not dim as bright,
Yeah.
and it's that collaboration and that mindset that now we need to get out of that. If Sophia is winning, I'm winning, like
Exactly.
if the next girl is winning, like it's a win for the whole community. It's not because she's taking a share of my pie that I'm gonna be mad or even not support her because of that. But it's something that we need to cultivate. And
Correct.
I'm glad that our generation, more and more people are speaking about it, because if we don't speak, then how will people be aware of it? More
Correct.
and more people coming up and speaking about it. It just brings that awareness on. So it's amazing. Sophia, I want to go back on the networking part, because again, I was almost forgetting about my question. On the networking part, like you spoke about the relationship, and speaking about your job and putting yourself out there. Can you give us two more tips that someone that is completely shy doesn't, or like 101 of networking, how can they put themselves out there as a young person?
Boy, okay. In this scenario that you're very shy, very, very shy, at least get one person beside you that's not shy. So then that person will start promoting you. And I think like in the past, I I think like we shift from being shy to not being shy, from being introvert to extrovert. And I think like in some places or in some moments in my life, I've been more quiet. And I think those are the times that I appreciated having someone who said like, "Hey, do you know Sophia? Sophia knows how to do
Mm.
this and that. So how about you talk to Sophia?" And then yes, you'll be like, you feel that pressure. But I think that that's a way in which you can get that visibility. And I think like in this, I've done some workshops on what networking, in which I always say it is very important that when building a relationship, a professional relationship, you get these like, I always say that as if you were cultivating a plant, a
Mm.
tree. So you need to get first a seed, and you need to plant that seed in order for it to grow. So
Yeah.
planting that seed is actually positioning yourself in the mind of others. So I think that can come very naturally from just a small talk or finding common ground between that person and yourself. That common ground being, for example, we work in the same industry, we work
Mm.
in the same department, we like the same music. I mean,
Yeah.
you can
It
get
can be
that
anything.
common ground,
Yeah.
but finding that thing that connects you to that person. And then from that, start watering that plant for it to grow. So constantly having this exchange of ideas, of looking after their thoughts, sharing your thoughts,
Mm.
and this back and forth of adding value to one another.
Yeah.
And that at the end will make it the seed grow into a tree. And you need to understand that networking and finding opportunities is not instant. So with time, that tree will provide fruits, and those fruits might be opportunities that suit you well. And sometimes will be opportunities that you can decide whether to take or not. But I think at the end is this sense of, yeah, creating an ecosystem
Yeah.
that fosters these kind of relationships, and in which you can also provide, yeah, opportunities to others. So I feel like that's the beauty of networking. That's how you do it. You have to put in the work,
Mm.
and make sure you don't either leave the plant to dry, right? You forget it, or you water it too much that it drowns, right? So
Yeah.
it's finding this balance of
Desperate much.
how, yeah, desperate much, or I don't know. Sometimes I get a lot of CVs or resumes from people, and I'm like,
Mhm.
"Uh, but I don't even know you. Why can you send me your CV? Like, yeah,
That's not.
like,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
need to
yeah.
first know each other, and then
Mm,
I can understand what's the best fit for you. And also you
mm.
can understand that I'm not a recruiting manager. So I don't have the ability to hire you, right? But but yeah, I think like that would be my advice around that.
Yeah, guys, you're listening to this. This is gold. And it's something that I wish I had known even when I was at university. It's not only about me just knowing Sophia and say, hi, Sophia, my name is Stella. Bye. It's about, it's about nurturing that seed. It's a seed. Okay, you've introduced yourself, you found yourself a common ground, and now how do you exchange value? What can you bring into the table? What can you guys share together so that when as time goes by, the tree is growing and it eventually bring out fruits. So you have to be intentional about it. It's not just Sophia is not answering me. Okay, but what have you done? Let's
Mm.
try to find another way around, but you have to be intentional and you have to have a plan for it. I think. And that's the beauty of networking. You will eventually, it's for certain, you will see the fruits of it. Here's Sophia to attest to it. The fruits of networking. And it's
Correct.
something, it goes to my last question now. Guys, we're getting towards the end and it's such a nice conversation. But Sophia, we talked about networking, especially for people who are now starting for their careers. What is an advice that you can give to supply chain professionals who are starting their career? They're choosing, they're like, they chose supply chain, but they're like, is it really what I really want to do? Will it work out? Is it really a nice industry? Am I really in the right place? What's the way forward? How can I navigate this industry? How can I aspire to be like Sophia? Even like, what's the one or two advices can you give to people listening?
Talk to people that are currently in the roles or in the company or in the upstream supply chain, downstream supply chain, in the place where you want to be. Talk to them. I think that's the only way. No, it's not the only way. It's one way to know if you like or not
Yeah.
that position or that role. And I think only the people that are working, actually doing that job, can tell you what's it like.
Mm.
Not even HR, not even the manager that is going to hire you, not even your professor, not your family member, just the one that is there doing it will tell you, yes, this is great. Yes, there are days like this. Yes, sometimes I don't sleep. Or
Yeah.
yes, peak season is intense, but I love it. Or if they don't love it, then go find someone that loves what they do. It doesn't mean that that person doesn't exist, but you haven't found them yet. So get out there, talk to them. Don't be shy. Well, be a bit shy, but don't let that deter you from trying to speak to
Yeah.
them. I think you'll find, you'll be surprised of how open people are and how they'll be like, yeah, sure, let's have a chat. And that's how Then and I met. So at least that this is one success story. And I think like you can find success stories out there as well. So yeah, that will be my first advice. just ask, how is it like? And I think supply chain is so big and, and really so holistic that
Yeah.
if you don't like a particular area, you can move to the next one really easily because now you have the knowledge of what that node does
Mhm.
and you can move to the next one. And then at the end, you'll be enriching your knowledge and your experience on the different nodes. And you
Yes.
understand the dependency. So if I was here in procurement, I understand like the decisions that I make in procurement will affect me at the
Mm.
warehouse. And then if something I don't do well at the warehouse will affect me in the next one. And you get the very comprehensive view of what we're doing. So I think, yes, definitely come here, try it out, ask people what they're doing, if they like it or not. And yeah, just give it a try and find your passion here. I think like definitely this is like Disney World. So at what is one part, you'll find it fun and, and you'll find your best fit.
Yes. Thank you, Sophia, for sharing. You'll definitely find your place in supply chain. Again, it's a huge industry. There's so many, wow, so many areas, so many nodes for you to be part of and for you to add value. I think there's not a single one that you cannot add value to, and bring something new, not only for your own company, at the company that you work, but even looking at your whole region or for your whole
Right.
continent. There's something that you can do about it. Just know that you can make the change. This is regardless of what age you are or where you find yourself in your career, be it experience, be it entry level. Like we can all make a change. We can all add value at somehow and leave an imprint. And thinking about also for the next generation that is coming up again after us. So Sophia, oh gosh, our conversation is going into an end. But you know what? It's always a pleasure to talk with young people and also experienced and also knowledgeable and also passionate about what they're doing. And I'm pretty sure people would really love to get in touch with you to know a little bit about your work. How can they reach out to you?
Now, I think definitely my main way in which you can contact me is through LinkedIn. So connect with me on LinkedIn. And yeah, coming up, I'm going to start having other channels. So you can reach out to me as well through TikTok and Instagram. And where I'm doing a more aggressive way in which to share what I know and reach out to others, which is more video based. So I hope that you'll find it engaging and and that you participate in the beautiful things that we have planned. But yeah, I think for now you can start sending me a message through LinkedIn and we can connect there.
Yes. Guys, you've heard her. You've known. You can, as I said, my tip for you, go see Sophia's page on LinkedIn. You'll be inspired. that I can tell you of. I was inspired. I was like, when I clicked and I saw the amount of things that she's done, I'm like, okay, I need to have her on the podcast. I need to have her and talk about her experiences, her opinion, her story, really. Because that's what we're here for, to talk and discuss people's story, to highlight sometimes parts or people that have not previously been highlighted before, or even people who have been highlighted before and having their story shared, their opinions heard, it's always amazing for me. That's what really brings me joy. So guys, thank you so much for listening to the podcast. It's always a pleasure to have you listening. Make sure that you like, subscribe to our channel, leave a comment on our YouTube videos. I would really appreciate to have your feedback. And I will see you guys on the next episode. Stay tuned.